Hey, Teddy K here for the Best Buy blog, and in this video we're taking a look at the OnePlus 13, OnePlus's latest flagship phone that makes a strong case for being one of the best Android phones of the year. Whether you know OnePlus already or are entirely new to the brand doesn't really matter in this case, because this is a phone that you should really consider, especially if you're an Android user, but even if you're an iPhone user and you're thinking of making a change, for a number of reasons. I'm going to outline a lot of what those are with this case, because this device covers a lot of bases both on the hardware and software side. On the hardware side, we have a device that is elegant. I mean, look at the back. This Midnight Ocean variant that I have here has a really nice vegan leather texture in the back. It's just aesthetically pleasing, and again, the look and feel of it, although the phone is a little bit heavier maybe than some competitors are, you don't really feel it as much because it's also thinner than you'd expect. So there's that. Not to mention it's quite durable. This is the first phone that I have seen that has both an IP68 and IP69 protection rating. Okay, so what does the IP69 mean? Well, it basically refers to the fact that this could handle a cycle in a washing machine. And again, I've seen it in action. It's not something that I would advise doing to test that limit, but it is, suffice it to say, this can take a bit of a beating, especially when it comes to water. No salt water, of course, though. This is just fresh water we're talking about. But the point is that the device is quite durable and rugged in the way that it's been designed. The other two variants, so the Arctic Dawn and Eclipse Black, do not have the vegan back. They come with a glass back, a Gorilla Glass backing that also, again, has a bit of a different look, but is also rugged in itself. Running on the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, starting with 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, that goes up to 16 and 512 respectively. So you've got plenty of power and memory to go with here, and it just shows. The phone is just very, very fluid and very smooth when you use it. Even gaming runs very, very nicely on this device, which is always good to have. Battery life is a huge component here, and it should be. I mean, OnePlus has made its name on not just battery life, but also battery charging. So in this case, we have a 6,000 milliamp battery here, which is huge for a phone this size. And because it comes with the standard OnePlus cable and the charging brick, you are looking at an 80-watt charging brick that will make this go from 0 to 100% in maybe 40 minutes, which is incredible, really. So even if you're in a pinch and you've got only 10 to 15 minutes to charge, just plug it in with a charger, and I guarantee you'll be able to go through a full day probably in that case, because it's just so fast the way it goes. Another big hardware component here, though, that I was really, really happy to see is support for MagSafe and Qi2. So, okay, MagSafe, you might be wondering, well, hold on a second. Isn't that an Apple technology? Yes, MagSafe is an Apple trademark, but the underlying technology, in terms of that magnetic circle that you get in the back, now is being run by the Wireless Power Consortium. So this is the consortium that runs all the wireless charging standards that devices use. Qi2, which is now incorporated into that magnetic design, is why cases from OnePlus also support MagSafe. The device itself doesn't. This is the key consideration here. This phone on its own cannot do that. Yes, it supports Qi2, so if it's a Qi2 charger, it'll charge with that, no problem. But in terms of the magnet side of things, you need a case. Now, OnePlus's cases are going to support MagSafe going forward. They're going to support the magnet in the back. So when I have the phone and the magnet, no problem. I can use not only chargers, but any accessories that were designed for MagSafe. This is huge in my opinion, because it opens the door for all sorts of accessories and all different ways to use the device. So not just a battery pack, for example, but you can use lights, all kinds of different photography equipment, video, anything that you can think of basically that worked with MagSafe before will work with the OnePlus 13 is when you have the right case with it. So a lot of this also blends in with the software side of things too, where the idea is to make things convenient and also enhance the usability. One that stands out also is share with iPhone. So OnePlus has put in a feature here that allows you to share files with an iPhone kind of the way you would with AirDrop if you were doing, between iOS devices or iOS and Mac. So the catch, though, is that the iPhone user in this case has to download an app called OnePlus Connect. So that's a OnePlus app that would enable a connection with the OnePlus device. Friends and family, I'm sure, won't have a problem doing this. So at least with people that you know, sharing files at full quality, by the way, won't be much of a problem. The way it works is pretty simple. So you have a file, you want to share it with the iPhone, you choose that option, and then the OnePlus Connect on iPhone will recognize that there's a file coming its way. It uses a Wi-Fi direct connection between the two devices, and that way it facilitates the file sending over. Again, it's not going to be as quick or quite as fluid as an AirDrop connection between iPhones, but from Android to iPhone, it's pretty good. Another favorite of mine is Smart Sidebar. So this is a sidebar that slides in at the, now this again, conceptually this is not new. Samsung's been doing this for years, but the difference here is that the practicality of it, I think, is different. Mainly because it's not just an app shortcut. So it's not just an app launcher. You can actually use it to share files between apps, because you have the file dock and you have the recent files. So you can see files that you've looked at. So whether it's photos, documents, whatever it is, you can see what those are when you just click on that. You can drag and drop a file into an app as well, or to move it from one folder to another. So that way it kind of resembles a little bit of the file system or the drag and drop sort of methodology that you would use on a computer. And it works really, really nicely. But again, you also have those apps below that can also act as shortcuts. The sidebar, though, plays a secondary role also. So if you already have an app open and you want to open another app on top of that, you can select one from the sidebar, and then it will act as a floating window, which you can then just sort of move around and still access the app underneath without affecting the floating window above, and vice versa. You can then move the window, you can expand it, make it smaller, or actually just have it take up the whole screen if you want. Again, one of those things that's kind of interesting, because you can also have the two apps interact with each other in different ways as well. So if you wanted to drag and drop, let's say, an image from an app, and then from your Photos app or even Lightroom or something like that, and move it to a folder, it is technically possible to do that by using the floating window. So again, cool feature, and something that I think it has a lot of use for, that you can have a lot of use for. Shelf is another one of those. Again, not new. OnePlus has had it before. If you just kind of swipe down from the home screen, from the middle of the home screen, you'll see it pop up. It's basically a widget, a menu of widgets that are contextual. So it could be anything from the time to what you're playing on Spotify to, or just anything from like notes to how much, how much distance you've walked, or even the audio recorder. So it doesn't work with every single app that you'll have on your phone, but the compatibility at least is expanding. So it's good to see that OnePlus has not abandoned this feature, because it is very cool. Global search, now within Shelf, there's a global search function as well that allows you to search for anything that is on the device. So if it's a file, if it's a photo, if it's something that, because there's an AI element to this, it is also looking for things that fit with what you're looking for. At the moment of this review, it is cool, but it is also very hit or miss. In some cases, I'll type in something like, let's say, hockey or basketball, and photos that I have taken of both of those sports don't always show up. So it's one of those things that I think probably will get better in time, but for now is a little bit of a mixed bag. The photography side of things is interesting, because the main image sensor is the same as the OnePlus 12 and the OnePlus Open Foldable, so that has not changed from a hardware perspective, whereas the telephoto and ultra-wide lenses do use different image sensors, and the telephoto especially is considerably better for it. It is, in my opinion, is probably the jewel of the camera array. Even though the main camera is excellent, the telephoto is superb. And the beauty of the camera system in general is that it applies action photography to all of them. So if you use action mode, for example, in the regular photo mode, you can freeze action in a way that, frankly, other phones just don't do very well, especially the ones that are available in Canada and North America at large. Action mode is not new. OnePlus has had it before. The difference in this case, though, it is just far better as far as the composition goes, and it works under varying conditions. So you don't have to have the perfect lighting. Even in low light situations, it can do a pretty good job. I tried it quite a bit and was impressed at the results, and I'm hoping that with updates, OnePlus will make it better so long as the OnePlus 13 is out. We'll have to wait and see about that. But for now, it's an excellent thing that I think is very much worth trying and applies to all 3 lenses in the rear, which is excellent. This is by far the best OnePlus has done as far as a full camera array goes. Where things get a little bit mixed, I think, is with the AI editing features that they've been touting. So basically, if you go into the Photos app and you go to edit, you will see that there is an AI suite of editing features. Of these, AI Reflection Eraser, to me right now, is the best and most reliable. It's not perfect, so you'll see in the example I'm showing here that it did get rid of some of the main reflections, but not all, including my shoe there at the bottom, where it's very visible. It clearly thought, it seemed like the AI thinks that that is actually part of whatever subject is behind the glass when it clearly is not. These things happen fairly often. In other examples that I tried, when I tested it, again, very mixed results. Some were worse than others. What I found is that the opacity of whatever it is that is behind the glass can sometimes, if it's a reflection that's really, really, really opaque, the AI might get confused and think that that's actually something that's behind the glass. So just something to try out and see for yourself how it works, but it does a pretty good job. Whereas the other AI features like AI Eraser, Unblur, and even the enhancement, the detail enhancement, is, I think, a very mixed set of results. The detail enhancement, again, I don't know that I really noticed a huge difference there. And then when it comes to Unblur or Eraser will recognize people or objects to remove, but as far as how good it is at removing those things and what it leaves behind, it could be a blotch of pixels as opposed to something that looks like it wasn't there to begin with. I can say with confidence this is going to be one of the best Android phones of 2025. For the reasons that I've already outlined, but even for those that I'm sure are coming with subsequent updates, given the cadence that OnePlus releases them in. Just looking at the device, I mean, from the hardware side, it's rugged, it's robust, it functions well. Whether it's gaming or photography, it handles that without a problem. The battery life is superb. Battery charging is almost unmatched. And then you add the MagSafe compatibility, the sharing with iPhone, all the different ways that the device makes things a little bit easier for you, the memory, the storage, all those things, all that combined, and at a value add in that it becomes cheaper than the competitors, it has to give you some food for thought as to whether this is a good way to go. I think it is. I do lament the fact that OnePlus does not match its competitors when it comes to Android and security updates. 4 years of Android updates, 6 years of security updates, when Samsung and Google are offering 7 for each. That obviously means that OnePlus is lagging behind. But if you're planning to hang on to a phone for maybe 3 years, this might be the way to go, simply because you're covered within that time, and you'll probably get a device in this case that will continue to get better with subsequent updates. So there's something to be said for that. And that's my review of the OnePlus 13, available at Best Buy now. You can read more about it by clicking that link below. For the Best Buy blog, I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.